than it is to launch them with payloads, because the space planes are not good at bringing large payloads up from the intel I have, but though they have some larger space planes now that are highly classified that have leaked. Still, they use booster rockets to get them into the atmosphere. But a blimp, you put it up there in the edge of the atmosphere, it's up above. It can video and scan multiple states. That's what's going on record. On record. Now, when we come back, they talk about chemtrail blimps. Chemtrail blimps with the former chief technology officer of Microsoft about geoengineering from CNN. We're just going to come back, go right into this clip, then we'll go out to break. I'll come back on the other side of the bottom of the hour and comment on this. The full video is linked at Infowars.com.
But I just can't see the world coming together to reduce CO2 emissions to the levels that will actually stop it. I can't see China or India doing it, which in and of itself would doom the project. And I really can't see Western countries making the kinds of drastic changes that would be required to cut CO2 emissions. And if we did, there is still lots of CO2 up in the atmosphere right now, and it will cause global warming anyway. All of which made me want to know, are there other approaches? Are there other strategies we might pursue? In that spirit, and in the wake of the Copenhagen summit, here is a fascinating conversation, a fascinating set of ideas, concrete ideas to solve the problem of global warming and energy without going down the Copenhagen-Kyoto route, or in addition to going down the Copenhagen-Kyoto route. Nathan Myhrvold, you've been looking into the issue of global warming, and you've brought all your expertise. I mean, you're a trained physicist. You spent years as the chief technology officer at Microsoft. So you understand the science, the economics. What is it that you think when you look at what is going on, what was going on in Copenhagen?
Here's the real problem, or one of the many aspects of the problem. When you emit CO2, a good fraction of it, at least 20%, maybe even a little more, will stay for thousands of years. So it's not like it goes up and then it can go away after a little bit. As we continue to emit CO2, it continues to make the problem worse. And then even if we stopped cold turkey, it'll be there for a long period of time. If you wanted a problem that was almost perfectly designed to be difficult for us to grapple with, this would be it. Because the cost is very high. The solution is going to require a lot of sacrifice. But the benefit is diffuse and global and way out in the future. And that's the kind of problem humans are bad at.
And that's why you have a fundamental problem with the idea, the whole approach of limiting carbon emissions as the solution to global warming.
I think that you have to be an incredible optimist, or you have to believe that it's not a severe problem, to think that that's the only solution we should investigate right now. Okay, this building has fire extinguishers and a fire system, but it's probably unlikely there'll be a fire today. It's a low probability event, but it's important enough that we really have to have all of this infrastructure and alarms and firemen that will race up here and so forth. Because although it's...
Okay, we're going to come back and play the rest of it, but I want to just counter what you just heard. And for people watching at prisonplanet.tv, on the screen, when they introduce him, they say a new plan to save the world. So they're now going from saying the oceans may rise by a few inches and a few polar bears might die, which is an extreme fraud, to putting out the visual idea, the asinine statement that the planet may be destroyed. Ambitious plan to save the planet. On screen, they're saying, we are saving the planet. And then the Microsoft former head of technology says, but we have a plan. And when we come back, we're going to play that where they show these giant blimps to spray sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. Now, how can the globalists, the UN, the United States, Britain, go and put up these blimps at the North and South Pole, as he says they're going to do, without asking the rest of the world. Also, what are these chemtrail devices, these aerosol devices, really going to do? He talks about tipping points. That's what the father of weather weapons, meteorologist Ben Livingston, who flooded Vietnam during the war, who created hurricanes, weakened hurricanes, now declassified, came on this show and explained to you that it's tipping points they can manipulate. We already know there's a giant covert weather modification program that John P. Holder in the White House science czar now admits was just a test that they're now going operational. So see, they now have to introduce it to you. Now, what they don't tell you up front is that Bill Gates, and let's search this during the break and show people when we come back, owns patents on hurricane killing systems or hurricane strengthening systems. The search would be Bill Gates patents hurricane weather control. I forget the exact headlines. He also has the patents on this. So this is his corporate minion. And, of course, Microsoft itself is an NSA/CIA front. So is IBM. That's come out on record. And so the globalists are going to play God. They're going to control your weather. HAARP, I've had the director of HAARP on admitting that they can ignite the atmosphere with HAARP. Then during the break, the Air Force came on the line, griped at him and said, don't talk about that. John Harmon heard that. The guy running the show up in Minnesota. I'm down here in Austin. I ought to get John on to talk about that. I always talk about having him talk about it, but we should have him on. But the issue is there is weather modification going on. We're going to come back and finish up with this.